Knon 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people. Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227, or extension 233. For more information, go to knon.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.
Good morning, it's the Workers Beat. I'm Gene Lantz, and this is
Bonnie Mathias. Good morning.
We're happy to be here.
Yes,
972-647-1893 is the number. If you're thinking about calling, this is the Workers Beat program. We are all about working people. Here's some of the stuff that working people are doing and trying to get you to do. At 9 a.m. this morning, right now, at 8451 Endicott Lane in Dallas, Texas, 75227, unionists are gathering for block walking at the Letter Carriers Hall. Now, October the 11th, they're going to do the same thing. Phone banking is going on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. from the Alliance AFT, that's 334 Center, Dallas, 75208. And in the afternoons, you get another chance to do it from 5 to 8 p.m., and that'll be from the Bonnie's Union Hall, 1408 North Washington. Call Pam Resendez to find out how you can fit into all this. 214-826-4808. This morning, I'll be at the TARA table, the Texas Alliance for Retired Americans table, at the Vanguard Convention, which is American Airlines employees.
Really?
Yeah, 5800 High Point Drive, Irving, Texas. That's a hotel. And I'll be there. Come and see me. October the 8th at 7 o'clock, that's Wednesday, the Job with Justice Coalition. Join us October the 8th, 2014 at 7 p.m. at 1408 North Washington to hear about the state of ongoing campaigns like the Worker Defense Project's Rest Break Ordinance. They're trying to get 10-minute breaks
10 minutes every
for
4
construction
hours.
workers because they don't get breaks. They can work 12 hours without a break. They're trying to get breaks, and the fight to raise our wages with on our side, County Judge Clay Jenkins, and against against Walmart. But our Walmart is the association that we're working with. We need to work together. No group can do it alone. Let's discuss how Jobs with Justice can support these campaigns and plan some actions. I got all that from Rosemarie Rieger, and here's her phone number, 214-632-5695. October the 8th at 5:30 p.m., and it's the afternoon, Real Values for Texas Action in Dallas. This is something the SEIU is doing, Service Employees International Union. While most homeowners pay taxes on the real value of their property, many large commercial properties are able to avoid these costs. This money, which amounts to over $100 million, which are lost to funding schools and other public services. SEIU is spearheading a campaign calling out large commercial property owners to pay their fair share. An upcoming action targets the Texas Association of Property Tax Professionals, who are holding their annual conference October the 8th to 10th. These are the lawyers who manipulate the property tax system for the commercial property owners. Our action will focus on presenting this group a, quote, award, end quote, before their opening reception. This action is to highlight who they are and show they do not represent the homeowners. So in other words, they're going to picket these people and try to get them to pay their property taxes. All right. On Wednesday, October the 8th at 5:30 at the Intercontinental Hotel, that's when that's going to take place. And you can call Rosemarie Rieger about that one, too. And her number, again, is 214-632-5695. Now, Mark, what is Mark's last name?
York.
Mark York, who is head of the AFL-CIO, is calling for volunteers to help Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson, who is having her second annual fish fry on Saturday, October the 11th, at Skyline Ranch, 1801 East Wheatland, Dallas, 75241. The reason he wants to do that is because she has such a good record of helping labor. And I would add my amen that she has an even better record on helping retirees. She is fabulous.
Yes, she is.
Now, Mark York also wants us people to know that they can get campaign signs for union-endorsed candidates at the following places: the Plumbers Local, 3529 West Miller Road in Garland; at the Letter Carriers Local at 8451 Endicott Lane in Dallas; and at Alliance AFT, that's the Teachers Union, 334 Center in Dallas, 75208. That's really in Oak Cliff. It's on Center and Bishop. And at UAW Local 848, which is at 2218 East Main in Grand Prairie. That brings us to an interesting question.
What?
UAW Local 848. We need to know what's going on out there.
Yeah.
And we're fortunate to have with us today Danny Splon, the president of UAW 848. Good morning, Danny.
Good morning, Gene. How are you?
Glad to see you, brother. Glad you came in. You know, a lot of union presidents don't go on the air.
Right.
They'd rather sit back in the shadows and be a little quiet, and not let people know what's going on. But that's not been true for your union for a long, long time. UAW 848, which is also my union, it's been pretty outstanding for information purposes. For example, you have just about the only regular coming out newspaper in North Texas and possibly in all of Texas. And you have a website, don't you?
Yes, sir, we do.
And a Twitter feed and
Facebook.
Everything. Mm-hmm. And Facebook. Mm-hmm. So how'd you get to be the president?
Well, I got elected on May the 18th by the people. They wanted to change, and so they came out and voted strongly for me.
Were there other candidates?
Yes, there was 6 of them.
So you had to have a election and then a runoff.
Yes, sir, we did.
And why did you decide to run?
Well, I was kind of tired of what was going on. I was tired of not knowing, because I'm all about communication, and that's why I ran. I had 2 people that asked me to run, please, and I did.
What kind of work did you do in the plant?
I'm a 7140. I'm an assembler. I've been an assembler since '89.
And 7140 is your job family.
Job family, yes, sir.
That's a company designation for assemblers.
I actually assemble airplanes, yes.
You assemble airplanes, put together the parts that make an airplane.
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm. That's the largest group out there, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah. It's the majority.
Uh-huh. And how long have you been doing this?
Since '89. So,
an airplane assembler, just working on the line, you decided to run for president of the union.
Yes, I did.
And so, how do you do it? How do you go about running for president of the union? Do you have to file some kind of papers with the government or something, or what?
No, sir. You just put your name in for nomination and get the people to back you whenever the elections come up.
So it's all run by the union.
Yes, it is.
They have some kind of apparatus, some kind of election apparatus.
They put out a notice as far as nominations, and you put your name in the hat, and whenever the elections come up, you wait for the results.
Yeah, actually, they elect election committee even before that, and then the election committee has to supervise the regular election.
Yes, sir.
And everybody gets a chance to vote.
Yes, they do. It's all fair.
Yeah. Do they all turn out? Is it about the same as the national elections, where about 50% of the people turn out?
Well, this last May, almost 90% people turned out this time. Yeah, it was big.
Really?
Yeah, it was big.
Wow.
Well, I hope they do that in November.
Man, I'm telling you.
Me too.
Me too.
Yeah,
That'll
be there.
So 90% of the union members turned out and voted. You won the first round, and then you had a runoff, and then you won that too.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
So when did you take office then? In June?
June, yes.
And how do you like it?
It's a struggle, because there's a lot of things going on now. It's a big struggle.
You didn't just walk into an easy situation.
No, sir. No, sir.
Our local has lost, or temporarily not. I don't know exactly call them lost or not, but there's been a couple of thousand maybe.
Yes.
That are not presently paying dues to the union that used to be paying dues.
Yes, sir.
So it's causing a financial crunch out there.
It is, absolutely, yes.
Mm-hmm. What kinds of things are you doing about that?
Well, we're trying to fight with the company in arbitration, trying to get the people back that they split off from us, and we're trying to cut back in the locals, trying to cut back in all the stuff that we're trying to do and trying to save money.
Are you learning a lot of labor law?
I'm learning a lot.
Because labor law has kind of got us hemmed in, isn't it? people think that unions are still outlaws, like they used to be prior to President Roosevelt, and that everything is just kind of a bare knuckles fight. But the truth is, there's always three people at the negotiating, three groups that are involved in negotiations, and one of them is government.
Yes.
And they're the ones that set the rules for everything. They're not just referees, because they're kind of breathing down your neck all the time.
I agree.
Yeah. So you like it? You like being president?
I like it because it's a major challenge, and I love people, and I love to communicate with people, and that's what I do.
And how's it going? Then do you find that the people that elected you just say, "Oh, we've elected you now, and so you can really just do what we elected you to do, and we're going to stay out of your way," and all that?
No,
that's not what happens, is it?
No, it is not. No, they kind of rebuttal a little bit, and they ask a lot of questions, and I try to answer the best I can.
I point this out to people all the time, that when you do something in the union movement and it makes somebody happy, it makes somebody else mad.
Yes, it does.
You can bet on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your experience, Bonnie? You've been a union officer now longer than Danny has.
Yeah, I have. I'm 2.5 years. Man, it is. If you make one person happy, it's going to make somebody else not happy. So you have to. I mean, you have to try to strike a happy medium. Right. And I try to explain to people, we are here to fight with the company,
right?
Not each other.
That's right.
Come on, that's not what we're here for. We're here to stand up to the company and make a difference with the company, make our lives better. You know, all of us.
But how come they don't? I mean, how come people, and rather than grouping together to fight the company, how come they do squabble so much?
We can't even get them to come together on the outside. So, I mean, it's a constant struggle. Apathy. It's it's always been like that, which really that'll get me going. Mm-hmm. It's always been like that. Well, you know what? It ain't no more.
I agree with you on that one.
The company changes every single day.
Mm-hmm. And gets worse.
Gets worse. That's right. And, I have a great woman that was a manager of mine when I first went to work for the company. I was very frustrated because every day it was something different. It was just, oh, my God, what a mess. Mm-hmm. I came to work one morning, and there was a little cartoon mouse sitting in my chair. And it said, "Blessed are the flexible, for they shall never be bent out of shape." And that is the best advice anyone has ever given me working for that company for as long as I did.
Tell the truth, though, Bonnie. This is confessional time.
Oh,
we're all being straight here now.
Okay.
You actually like it, don't you?
I do. I'm sick. I swear. I do. I love it. I love my union job. I am passionate about my union job and my brothers and sisters, and not just the ones that are in my local, but the whole freaking working families. I mean, I got my making change at Walmart to rebuild America.
She's wearing a shirt that says that.
Yeah, changewalmart.org.
But you don't work at Walmart.
I don't work at Walmart.
You work for communication workers.
I work for Communications Workers of America, Local 6215. But these people at Walmart are my brothers and sisters.
Right.
They deserve a living wage and dignity in the workplace.
And you feel good about trying to help?
Man, let me tell you, there is nothing like going to Walmart with one of these shirts on and having management follow you every step of the way.
Because they're worried about you.
Yeah, and I pay them absolutely nothing. I got work to do here. I got a list from my mother-in-law. I have work to do here. So I'm just going on about my business. I do speak to them. Mm-hmm. I feel that's respectful. Good morning. How are you this morning? Is usually my response. And
are you still exploiting your employees?
Hey, that's good. I might have to ask that one. Yeah. That's a really good. I might have to throw that one in.
The only thing is worse than being exploited by bosses is not being exploited by bosses because the unemployment.
That means
so
you're unemployed. That's right.
I don't know if the two of you have noticed that unemployment is lower than it's been any time since 2008.
Shall we talk about why?
Okay, why?
Because the numbers are not accurate. That is just the people who are on unemployment. That doesn't count.
It's not even that.
It's not even the people that are on unemployment.
No, it's a survey.
Survey says.
But it's the same survey. So if it's inaccurate, then it's been inaccurate all along.
Yeah.
So it's still going down.
It is going down, yeah.
More people aren't answering the survey.
At the same time that the unemployment is at its lowest since 2008, they have another statistic called the participation rate. I think they call it POP for some reason. I don't remember what POP stands for. But the participation rate in the labor force is down to like 62%. In other words, out of 100% of people who could be looking for a job, only 62% are even trying. So that's one reason that the unemployment rate is going down, because they only count the people who are looking for a job. They do a survey and they ask, are you looking for a job? Did you apply for a job over the last week or so? And if they say no, then they don't figure them at all. They're not unemployed and they're not employed. They're just not in there. They're not figured.
They're not in the mix.
So if you answer yes, I did, then they say, okay, this one's unemployed. But the participation rate, in other words, it's a 62% participation rate, then that means that 38% of them are not answering. You know, they're saying, I don't have a job and I'm not looking for one.
Right.
And that's worse than it's been.
Right. And most of those people.
So that number is what's holding down the unemployment rate.
Most of those people are people over 50 that have been laid off.
I agree.
A lot of them can't get jobs.
That's it.
And they've just given up.
Yeah. Because you're over 50, and I got to tell you, it's scary. I know a lot of people that are taking jobs at Walmart because they have no choice.
Right.
They're not eligible for Medicare. They make too much money from their pension or whatever to be Medicaid eligible, so they're stuck like Chuck. They got to have something.
Absolutely.
We got to take a break. We'll be right back.
Comes Saturday morning.
Sing along.
That's right.
972-647-1893 is the number. We're here with Danny Splon, president of UAW Local 848. Jesse's on the line. Good morning, Jesse. Thanks for calling KNON.
Yeah, I'm a union person. I was union person for about 32 years.
Good for you.
Right down the street there of Young Motors in Arlington.
There
you go.
Yeah.
And I can understand why it's so hard to get union people to understand that the Republican Party is not going to help the union people. I went through 30-some years, and I never could understand why they couldn't understand that.
So you think some of them vote Republican, huh?
A whole lot of them.
Auto workers.
I used to have arguments with them on the line when I wasn't on the line or whatever I was doing, and they just strictly Republican. They won't change.
Is that a fact?
They won't do anything for them. They go on union hall. A lot of them get mad because the union wouldn't endorse Republicans.
Does that include black union members? Or
Yeah.
do you know?
Some of those too.
Some black union members.
Yeah, but most of them were the Caucasian. Yeah.
And they ain't right.
Do you have a theory, Jesse? What's your theory? I mean, you've been dealing with this for 30-something years. Do you have some kind of a theory why they would vote against their own interests?
I couldn't figure it out, but I tell you what, it was mind blowing. I tell you, for people to be like that, just I don't know whether they're doing it because they didn't like some people or what. I don't know. But,
well, they have a saying that people have a pretty good living if they're in the auto workers union. In the past anyway, they made pretty good money, and so the saying is that they get a riding lawnmower and then they think they're a Republican.
That's right. And the worst Republican in my lifetime was Ronald Reagan.
No, I'm telling you.
He didn't do nothing for me.
That's where it all started, brother.
There you go.
That's where it all started, right there.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for calling, Jesse. I'm gonna ask President Danny Splon about the same question. President Danny Splon, how do the people vote at UAW Local 848? Have you ever checked that out?
Well, at the Marshall Street plant, there is a lot of Republicans.
There are a lot of
Yes,
Republicans.
there is, at the Marshall Street plant. Now, as far as the Lockheed and everything goes, Raytheon, I think a lot of those do vote Democrat. Like myself, I do. And I think at the local, a lot of people, there's a good support for Democrats there. But at the Marshall Street, there is a lot of Republicans because of back in the day we had all that defense. They thought the Republicans meant good defense. We got good jobs.
So they make defense weapons out there.
Basically, yeah. Yeah.
But that doesn't explain it everywhere, though, Bonnie.
I totally agree.
What's it like in the communication workers? You don't make any war materials.
No, we don't.
But do you have members that you think vote for the other party?
Oh, yeah.
What's your theory?
Well, I'm not sure. A lot of it, I think, comes from how they were raised. I was raised a Democrat, so
So was I.
My very first gift that I got from my grandmother was a donkey pen. So I mean, I'm kind of, that was like I know I wasn't walking or talking yet.
Yeah.
And I look at these folks and I ask them, why do you continue to vote against your own best interests? These people don't care about you.
Do you think it's the black workers and the Hispanic workers as well as the white workers?
Some, but not most of our folks of color have got it.
Most folks of color vote Democrat.
Yes. And that's why they don't want you to vote.
I wonder what people think about that. What's the theory about why people vote why working people vote the way they do? Call us at 972-647-1893 and lay it on us, your theory. 972-647-1893. Some years ago at UAW Local 848, Danny's local, but this was a long time ago, I kept hearing everybody say that all our members vote Republican. So I actually checked. You could do this. You still can. I went down to the records building and I got on the computer and I checked. I had 500 and something union members that lived in Dallas County, and in Texas it's a matter of public record how you voted in the primaries.
That's right.
You can vote for Democrat in the primary. You can vote Republican in the primary. So I checked that 500 and something people just one at a time. It took me all day. And they all voted Democrat, not 100%, but it was like 70 something. So I figured, well, at least the ones who live in Dallas County vote Democrat. Now I couldn't say how they voted in other counties because I'd have to go to their courthouse and do the same thing.
Right.
But when I actually checked, I found that most union members at UAW Local 848 did vote Democrat. However, I also began to wonder if most of the members of UAW Local 848 who lived in Dallas County were African American, because I started noticing their zip code 75224 and 75215 showed up quite a lot, and those are two places that are predominantly African American.
That's true.
So I never really I never checked everybody, and I didn't do a scientific survey, but the survey I did said that they voted Democrat, and what I think was going on is that people just thought they voted Republican because some of the Republican voters were so outspoken that it just tripped people up, and they made a bigger deal out of it than it really was. So let's see what Greg has to say. Thanks for calling, Greg. Thanks for calling KNON.
All right, yeah, this is Greg. Listening to you driving home.
Good deal.
I think most people vote, as you're saying, like they vote, because they don't want other people with different colors to have the same benefits, the same pay that they have.
You think it's racism right at the very root of it, don't you?
Yes, sir.
I do too.
I do too.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, thank y'all.
Thank you.
I appreciate it so much. Somebody brought up President Reagan a while ago. Did everybody realize that President Reagan held a nominating convention in Philadelphia, Mississippi, down there where they killed Schwerner, Jackson, and Cheney, where they killed those three civil rights workers? That's the only thing that's famous about that whole place, is that that's where they killed those three civil rights workers in 1963. And so he went down there and got himself nominated for president of the United States.
Wow.
So people don't think that Reagan appealed to the racist. My heavens. What kind of evidence do you need when he shows up in Philadelphia, Mississippi? So this is a small town. They don't do anything else there. It's not like they had any other political reason for going there. They did it because that's where they killed those three civil rights students. And that was a clear message if you're a racist, vote for President Reagan.
And I'll help you.
And all the stuff, guns and gays and all the other moralistic issues like that were the basis of their coalition that they put together in 1980. And so, in my opinion, a lot of workers are blinded by racism. It's always been a big problem in America, and the good news is it's not as big a problem as it used to be.
Right.
It used to be a lot bigger problem than it is now.
But, Gene, that brings up an interesting point, because I do subscribe to the Southern Poverty Law Center. I get their magazine and I get their Hate Watch reports every month. The prevalence of white hate groups is just, it has exploded in the last 6 years.
It's more than it was. Well, that makes sense because
we have a black man in the White House.
Yeah, well, the more gains that we make in the broad civil rights movement, the more these small, dangerous, violent minorities are going to be able to recruit. Man. So it makes sense that would happen. Now, the Southern Poverty Law Center, of course, fights against lynching. Yes. And fights against
discrimination.
Hate crimes.
And discrimination. I mean, it's I have a huge poster in my office, and Morris Dees actually signed my poster at a SPLC event that I went to.
What's SPLC?
Southern Poverty Law Center.
Okay.
I went to an event last year at Temple Shalom, I believe, and it was wonderful. And at the end, they gave away these great big posters of different cases, pictures and text of different cases that the Southern Poverty Law Center had been involved in and won. And mine is about migrant tree workers. They worked on tree farms. And they were awarded like $2.7 million because they were wage theft, which of course we fight here all the time, forcing people to work off the clock. And believe me, we've had managers at some of the companies that we represent that have tried that, and luckily our folks are strong and stand up and say, no, you can't do that. But then you get these bully managers in some of these locations, and people they just sit there, and I'm like, hello, stand up. That person does not run this show. You do. They cannot do your job. You need to stand up for yourself.
Right.
Management is, and I try to tell people all the time, I understand that you have a good relationship with your manager, but management is not your friend.
Bonnie, what's going on with your contract negotiations?
For YP,
Yellow Pages.
Yellow Pages is ugly. That company does not want to bargain. They want to dictate, and we're not having it. District 6 is not District 3, and we started negotiations this week.
I don't know what you mean.
Okay,
by that.
District 3.
District 6 is not District 3.
District 6 is Missouri, Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas, and Texas. That's our CWA district.
All right.
District 3 is the Southeast, Florida and Georgia, those folks over there.
You think they give in more?
They did.
Oh, I see.
They did, and we're not going to.
I see.
And I had the pleasure to sit in opening day of negotiations with Tyco Integrated Security here in Dallas on Tuesday, and it's bizarre what these companies
what they think they can get away with.
They think they can get away with. I mean, I can't. They slid their first proposal was something that they gave to us 2 years ago that we didn't take 2 years ago.
Wow.
That's pretty bad.
If we didn't take it 2 years ago, nothing's changed. And that, of course, has set the tone.
I want to get back to this question of racism because I think people are interested in that. Call us at 972-647-1893 if you have an opinion. Now, I've got two expert leading union officers here with me. I got Danny Splon from UAW 848, and I got Bonnie, of course, from CWA 6215. I want to ask the two of you, if you ever had a non-union job, and do you think racism is as bad in the unions as it is everywhere else? So let me ask Danny Splon first. Have you ever had a job that wasn't a union job?
Yes, sir, I have. When I was laid off.
Yeah. And do you think racism is worse in the union or worse in the non-union job?
I would think it'd be worse in a non-union job, to me.
It's worse in the
Yes.
non-union
For
job.
what I see where I'm at, yes, sir.
Because in the union, they have some protection.
Yes, they do. They have all the rights, and they have hopefully good people, taking care of their rights.
And they don't ask what color you are when the raises are passed out or
right.
anything
No,
like
sir,
that.
they do not. No.
Because the
it's all
union-
equal.
The union,
That's right.
union negotiates for everybody equally.
Yes, they do.
Okay, and the same thing is true for women. I mean, the women, this might come as a surprise to our radio audience, but women in unions make the same money men do.
That's right.
Yes, they do.
Now, we know that out there in the world, they only make like 72 cents or something like that for every dollar the men make. But in the union world, they make equal money.
Yes, they do.
right.
They get
Absolutely.
treated fairly.
Yes,
Yep.
they do.
So that probably cuts down on the amount of male chauvinism and the amount of racism. That at least you don't see it as much.
Right.
I know that at UAW Local 848, when a boss is found to have been doing something racist, he's likely to go out the door very quickly.
Yep.
And if not actually have some kind of criminal charges up against him. I remember a foreman getting fired just for having a note in his desk with some racist words in it. And a janitor or somebody found it to clean his desk and found the note in his desk, and they fired him.
Wow.
And he was gone because the union would not tolerate it.
No.
That's right.
No.
It's an equal opportunity, brother.
That's
What
right.
do you think, Bonnie? Have you ever had a non-union job?
Yes.
And what do you think, racism is just as bad in the union as it is everywhere else?
No, not at all. We're all on equal footing in the union world. Man, woman, black, white, brown. We're all equal.
So
That's
if
it,
you
under that
want fair
contract.
treatment, get a union job.
Right,
Get a
right.
union, just
but
as-
you know
just
what?
so-
And folks need to understand you have rights. If you find out that your coworker is making more than you, or your coworker is getting special treatment, go to the boss. Go to the boss and say, I'm kind of uncomfortable here. And
You can do that.
Well, you can.
Well, I never did. And I'll tell you why. I always got my steward to do
That's
it.
what I was going to say.
Well, yeah, that's right. But if you don't have a steward,
Because if you have a union, you don't have to talk to the boss.
Boss at all, no.
I'm always the
he's
one that
gonna-
has to go talk to the boss.
He's
Jimmy.
going to come. He's going to come. He's going to come and tell you, here, fix this or do that. And you say yes sir or no sir. But when it comes to some kind of a problem on the job, you don't have to talk to him. You just go get your steward to do it.
Yes, you do.
He's a professional. He's getting paid for it. And well, he's not getting paid any more than you are. But anyway, it's his job.
Right. Yeah.
And then if the steward's doing his job, he'll take care of it.
Yes, he will.
I always love that because I'm afraid of bosses. I'm a little bit afraid of everybody when it comes right down to it. But I've always definitely been afraid of bosses.
And see, I'm not scared of nobody. That's what's wrong. That's what's wrong.
But I would go get you. See, I'd
See, there you go.
say, Bonnie, I'm a little uncomfortable.
And I got to go in there and go, hey, what's going on here?
I agree
You
with you,
talk to the
Bonnie.
boss for me.
You
I
too,
would do the
right?
same thing, yes.
See?
Yes, ma'am.
You and I are the ones they come to and go, they're picking on me.
But the second channel, if you don't go to the boss, you got to get your steward out there,
Yeah.
protect your rights, and
Yeah,
and that's
you do.
what they're there for.
That's right.
And if they can't help you, we'll go another step up, go to your commitment. So
This seems like a good time to explain Weingarten rights.
yeah.
Ooh,
I mean,
go for it.
Weingarten rights, this is where it's written down. And at UAW 848, they put that on these cards that they pass out every now and then. You get your Weingarten rights. They pass out a card saying, here's what your wages should be. And on the back of it, usually it'll have some kind of... I actually started that. Well, they used to pass
great.
out those cards, and it didn't have anything on the back. Well, I couldn't stand that. So I started putting a little quote or something on the back, and, a little something Martin Luther King said or something like that.
Right.
And then they started putting Weingarten rights on there. And now I think every time you get a card at UAW 848, I think if you turn it over, you'll find something on there
Something on
that's
it.
useful
Yeah.
to you.
A lot of my chiefs do that for with their cards.
And that's for the cola raises and the increase in the wages, right? The
Yeah,
cards
but
you're talking about.
Now you got to tell people what COLA is.
Well,
Cost of living.
adjustment.
So you get a raise every now and then just cause inflation went
Yes,
up.
yes, we do.
right.
Yeah,
Boy, that sounds good, doesn't it?
yeah.
972-647-1893. You don't have to be a union member to call and talk about this. You can talk about your workplace stuff, things that you have noticed, and share your wisdom. 972-647-1893. Now, Bonnie, what
Yes.
are Weingarten rights?
Weingarten rights give you, the union member, union represented person, the right to have a union representative with you in any meeting that may result in disciplinary action.
So if the boss is after you, the boss comes over and says, you just scrapped the last 4 parts, I'm going to talk to you. Come to my office. You say, well, I'll be there.
I'll be right there as soon as I get my union rep.
As soon as the steward gets here.
Right.
That's right.
Amen on that, brother.
That's what I always did. We'll be right back.
Right.
972-647-1893. We were talking about Weingarten rights, and we suddenly realized none of us knows why they call them Weingarten rights. But let me tell you why it's so important that you can get a steward anytime the boss wants to talk about disciplining you, firing you, or docking your pay or anything like that. You don't have to talk to him if you're a union representative, at least not in UAW 848.
That's right.
And one of the good things about that is that they try to trip you up. They're trying to get you to admit something. And you don't have to admit nothing. You just say, I want my steward. Even when they fired me, they said, come on down, we're taking you to labor relations, we're going to fire you. And I said, I ain't going. I'll get there when my steward goes, when it gets there. And of course, my steward at that time was not much help, but at least he was a steward, and I didn't have to say beans.
That's right.
And so I just sat there while they processed me and fired me, and he took care of it. As far as I was concerned, I didn't have to say a word. And,
Okay.
And I've always been glad that I never had to really talk to the boss.
Right.
That's my favorite part.
Mine too.
Well, I did talk to the boss, just, good morning, how you doing?
Well, yeah,
stuff like that.
that's good. That's
and,
good.
yeah, these parts over here are not going as good as those others, and
Right.
We had 13, and then we weren't always supposed to have 12, I talked to him about stuff like that. But when he said that there was going to be trouble, I said, well,
Let me get my steward.
let me get my steward.
I'll be right back.
Absolutely.
Well, I found out what the background is.
Why we call him Weingarten?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
the original complaint was taken to the NLRB, the National Labor Relations Board, in 1972 against J. Weingarten, Inc., which is a chain of food outlets.
Oh, it's a grocery store.
Yeah, like you said.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You are correct. Well, there was this lady had a bad day at work, and she didn't get her union steward, so she made a National Labor Relations Board complaint. And in 1975, that complaint came before the United States Supreme Court.
Wow.
And during an investigatory interview, the Supreme Court ruled that the following rules apply. The employee must make a clear request for union representation before or during the interview. I have to explain that to people because the company is not going to offer it.
No, they will not.
They do not have an obligation to offer union representation. You have a responsibility to ask for it. Do not go into a meeting with 2 managers ever without a union representative.
That's to all union members out there.
Every single one.
union
Doesn't
member.
matter what union you're in, whether it's SEIU, UAW, or CWA. Every single union member do not go into a meeting with the manager without a union steward.
Okay, all right. Now, here's a hard one for you, Bonnie, because you're a professional. You know how to do these things. What if your steward didn't come to work that day?
You better
And
take
the
a
boss is
union
standing
member.
right there saying, you get in this office right now, I'm fixing to take you down, brother.
Let me get another union member.
I'll answer that for you, but I'm calling my committeeman.
Yeah, I'm
He's
calling the hall.
Next step. I'm going to call him.
You go above the steward.
Steward,
to the-
getting
to
my
the
commitment. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. They don't, in every union, they don't call them the same thing. Like in her
understand,
union,
yeah.
I think they don't even call them stewards. They just call them committeemen to begin with, don't they?
Actually, no, we have job stewards
Job
who are
stewards.
appointed by the chief stewards
I see.
who are elected by jurisdiction.
Wow.
And in Local 848, the stewards and everybody else is elected.
Yes. Yeah. All elected positions. Yeah.
I see. So it's not the same in every union. They don't always have the same names. But
Right.
But still, they're the union representative.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
That's
what
right.
you're supposed to say is, I want my union
I want my
representative.
union rep.
And if he says, well, he's not here today, you just say, well, get another
You better
one.
find somebody.
You gotta.
That's it.
I have this right The Supreme Court said so in the Weingarten case.
That's right.
I guess we owe the United Food and Commercial Workers for that
Yes,
one.
we
don't
do.
I think so.
Because
Yep.
they must have been the ones organizing at that Weingarten store when this all happened.
Absolutely.
And so they won that for us.
That's right. And once you make that request, the company can't punish you for making that request, and the company has to do one of three things: grant the request and delay questioning until the union rep arrives, and that the person has a chance to consult privately with that employee, deny the request and end the interview immediately, or give the employee a clear choice between having the interview without representation or ending the interview. By God, you better end that interview.
But the employee has the choice.
That's right. And I'm telling you folks, all you folks that keep going in these meetings without union representation, and then you turn around and file a grievance on the step of discipline, you're hurting yourself.
Yeah, because your grievance is not going to go.
We got nothing. We got nothing. If you go in there by yourself, all we have is the company's word for what happened.
Absolutely.
You have to have somebody. Think of it as going in to talk to the cops, and you got some reason to be worried. Always have a reason to be worried when management calls you. Always, always. That's my best advice. Unless they're calling you to give you some kind of an accommodation or whatever, be concerned.
I think if they told me they were going to give me an accommodation, I definitely want my steward.
Right?
I'd still be worried.
Good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah, good point.
I never got along with them at all. I forgot to read this. When we first came in, I was reading all the stuff that's coming up, and here's one that I missed. The OCOS, Our Community, Our Schools, will be holding a press conference beginning at 10:30 a.m. Tuesday, October the 7th, regarding participation in the national group of the Alliance for Reclaiming Our Schools. In other words, they're going to join a national group.
Wow.
Linking our local proactive agenda to a larger picture. Please plan on attending. Press conference at 10:30 on Tuesday, and I think that must be at the Alliance AFT Hall, 334 Center Street, because it says that right after that is when they have their regular meeting at 11:30.
Right.
So that's at the Alliance AFT Hall.
Yeah.
They meet on Tuesdays. I think it's every other Tuesday, something like that. Might not be every Tuesday, but they meet at the Alliance AFT Hall. A lot of stuff goes on at that hall.
Yeah.
334 Bishop Street. And the press conference will be at 10:30 a.m. Tuesday. If you're interested in the schools, if you care what happens with the schools, you might want to hook up with this organization.
Awesome group of folks. Awesome group of folks. I love going to their meetings. There's a lot of energy. Everybody is on one court, and that's saving our public schools.
The Our Community, Our Schools includes the Dallas NAACP, it includes the Teachers Union, Texas Organizing Project, it includes the Texas Alliance for Retired Americans.
Yep.
And
Dallas CLC.
So it's a good organization.
That's right.
Let's see what this person. Does that say Leon?
Leon.
Good morning, Leon. Thanks for calling KNON.
This is Leon. I appreciate listening on this morning.
Good deal.
I've never been a part of the union. I know y'all go through all kinds of trouble. My daddy was in the union up in Pennsylvania.
Oh, good.
But I found the best way that you can hold management accountable. You can go down today and you can buy a little thing at the electronics store for like $25 that you can record every conversation, and you can also do it on these here these
Smartphones. That's right.
Today.
Yeah. Is that legal, Leon, to record something
It is.
without permission?
Yes, sir. In the state of Texas, only one person has to know that you're being recorded.
Wow.
I believe that's right. But I tell you what, it's legal if they go try to pull something on somebody for no reason, just out of the blue, like some of these people do these days.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody, so all my children and everything else, and I can tell you that there's been times to see people will talk a great game if they think that there ain't no flies on the wall. But I had a friend of mine, his son
they tried to pull some dirty dealings on him, and I said, look, next time he's going to talk to this woman, he needs to take this, go buy this MP3 thing, take it in with him. And then what he did, he took it in, and then when they fired him, he called management, and first of all, he told them what happened, and they said, well, it's just your word against the director. And he said, no, it's not just my word. And he said, I got it on the CD, and I'm going to take it, I'm going to talk to a lawyer, and I'm going to file against you.
Good.
And, so he sent them a copy of it, and I guarantee you they turned things around because see they knew they couldn't get by with it. Only when people think they can get by with something on you, they're going to try to pull something.
Amen.
That's not a bad idea, Leon.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Another thing you could do is go to the media with it.
Yeah.
Bonnie, if somebody had a recording like that, would we play it for them here on the Workers Beat?
I guess that would really have to depend on the nature of the call or the nature.
We couldn't do something where you're going to get sued for.
No, you cannot. No.
We're not doing that.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. That's a very good idea, Leon.
Thank you,
Thanks
Leon.
so much.
Bless you, Leon. That's great.
$25 save you a whole lot of heartache.
Yes, sir. Yes,
That's
sir.
Bless you.
A lot cheaper than a gun.
Yeah.
Which
It sure is.
so many people are using nowadays to settle their workplace disputes.
It's better than losing your job, too, brother.
That's right. That's right.
Thank y'all.
Thank
God
you.
bless y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leon. Let's see what.
Nanetta. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for calling Knon.
Hi, I just want to call back because of the question I had last week about how many hours you can work before you can get 30 minute an hour break. What's illegal for that?
Right.
I didn't want to sound ignorant or whatever. I just kind of want to explain how one person could think that when it's always been the rule that you have to get an hour break if you work 8 hours. When I started working at 14. I'm 47 now. As a kid, you're just going to do what your boss tell you, basically. So I know I did that. I work so many hours and only got so little breaks. But when I got older, maybe like 20s, late 20s, I think we did get our breaks, the hour break, because we started having kids. And I remember this is what I wanted to kind of say, like I work at Allison. I need more break because I have to take care of my kids. So it seems like every time we get to that point, though, where you have, the kids come in, I have to go to another job. Funny enough. And I really didn't know that because I didn't know that they don't have to give you a break at all.
Right.
Basically.
Texas is not an employee-friendly state at all. Their rules and laws definitely favor big business. I mean,
and I didn't know. I don't know. I've been voting since I was 18. Because your mom, you have to.
Right.
You have to go. I didn't know we were Republican. I was like, how the heck I didn't know Texas was a Republican state.
Oh yeah.
State.
But we're working on making that different by signing up voters and talking to people and explaining to them why they should not vote against their own best interest. Right. That you should vote for people who have your interest at heart and not their own. And in this particular state, that happens to be Democrats. Democrats are the ones who stand up for working people. And
I really thought we were Democrat. I guess because of the community I live in, because we all go out. When we vote, we go together. And I just thought we were Democrat. You just go out and vote and do your thing. And I don't know. But, yeah, you're right. We have to go out and we have to get together to do it because I really thought we were Democratic. But how?
Well, I hope that you are registered to vote in Texas and that you will vote in the primary. And you've got until Monday to get that registration in.
I have my registration.
Okay, good.
I listened to the debates, and I didn't hear them talk about workers getting breaks.
No, I didn't either.
I didn't hear either side say anything at all. Did you?
You never hear it.
Yeah.
You never hear it.
I
bring it
hear
up.
That's right.
It looked like they would talk about that because there's a lot of workers that do not get a break. in Texas because there's no law that requires them to get a break.
First thing I gotta go check on my kids. I don't know. And the thing, I'm not kidding. Every time, because I didn't have kids until I was 25.
Uh-huh.
And, so it doesn't really matter how long I worked. But when the kids came, I'm like, I'm sorry, but I got to take a break. Right. And it's okay. They always tell me to go.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a law that they didn't have to. And,
right.
Right.
It's a scary thing.
It is a scary thing.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you, Netta. Thanks. Have a good day, girl.
It seems like a good time to mention the Workers' Defense Project and the fact that they are pushing an ordinance in Dallas in which if you get any money from the city of Dallas, if you're an employer and you give any money from the city of Dallas, you would have to give a 10-minute break
every 4
hours.
You know, it's a
don't sound like much.
It's a real shame that we have to pass an ordinance to make people do the right thing.
Right. And I have not yet seen them take action on it.
No.
I thought the city council and the mayor would just jump on that.
Well, we have some dissenters on the city council. I actually sent an email to Mayor Pro Tem Tanel Atkins, and I'm ashamed of him for not being a part of this. What's wrong with you? You came from the Grove, dude.
There you go.
I mean, seriously. And I told him, I said, surely this can't be true, because the Tanel Atkins that I know is a compassionate human being.
You know what they did? They just said, we're going to study this.
Yeah, they're going to put it off again. Well, now the weather's getting cooler, so maybe nobody will die of heat exhaustion or end up hospitalized or sick where they can't go to work with heat exhaustion. But they can't let it go, and we can't let it go.
So we should get behind that. We should get behind that effort, and we should make an issue of it.
Yes.
And if they haven't done something by next year, they have to stand for election.
Absolutely. Yes, they do.
You know,
yes,
though, my own city councilman, though, Scott Griggs, he came out for it.
I loved Scott Griggs. Oh my gosh!
I was talking to him the other day, and I guess I insulted him. I didn't mean to, but I said, "You look even younger now than you did when you got elected." To me, he looks about 16.
I know he does. He looks very young.
But he has done a fine job.
And do you know that all on Wednesdays in council meetings, he posts updates on his Facebook page all during the meeting.
There you go.
It is fantastic. I love it.
Communications is key.
Yes, and he tells the whole story about what's going on in the council meeting.
We're about to run out of time. Let's give a minute to Danny Splon, president of Texas of UAW 848, and ask him what kind of message, if you could say anything you wanted to working people in North Texas, Danny Splon, what would you tell them?
Well, Gene, I'd tell them basically to get behind the candidates, to vote for labor. I'd ask you if you can get into a good, strong union, because as far as I know, the union is where it's at. Good, fair labor, good, fair jobs and salaries, and definitely breaks, like we were just talking about. And God bless everybody, and hopefully everything's good. Thank you for letting me be here.
Well, that's Danny Splon, UAW 848, one of the finest local unions that ever graced North Texas.
That's Gene's union, by the way. So
well, I can back that up. We will be back next week. Thank you so much.
KNON 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people. Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227, or extension 233. For more information, go to KNON.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.